Listen, if you want to do something right, you sometimes have to put your feet where you eat. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at how my friend Jakob and I made a home commercial with no rules, no guidelines, no deadlines, and no budget. Wow. Now, before you get bored and click away, here's the actual video ad, which the client ended up loving and used on their social media. Great! If you're still here, it means we both like the same things. Creating, or at least learning how to create new things. And don't worry, we're not gonna edit this video shot by shot. I would rather show you some behind the scenes stuff that I think would add more value to you next time you're trying to create something similar. It's actually the first time Jakob and I worked together, so we did take our time brainstorming about what we could do and testing out different kind of setups. So a day before we filmed this, we met to spend some time with the product, which is a new Danish alternative to a cola beverage, but also, of course, to put down a shot list for the next day. It didn't take long for us to agree that we shouldn't overdo it. We shouldn't overcomplicate this project. We did experiment here and there, but not all shots ended up in the final video. Jakob is a creative guy himself, and what surprised me was that he actually built his own dolly system, which ended up being pretty useful, especially for the end shot. And if you're curious, we filmed everything with the Sony A7S III in an S-Log format with the Tamron 28-75 f2.8, and most of the video was captured in 100 frames a second. Okay, so we're basically looking at 6 separate shots that form this 15-second commercial, and each of these shots was fun to capture, but most of them came with their own challenges. In this first shot, we really wanted that cool rim light effect, right? The outline of the product. So we put the button on a Lazy Susan. We turned off all the lights except for the Aputure Mini, which I've placed behind the product. Here we needed to coordinate quite a little bit because while one of us was spinning the Lazy Susan, at the same time the other one had to slowly pull in with the dolly shot and make sure the product is in frame. Now, I do want to admit that the speed ramping effect in editing put a final touch, but also managed to hide what was wrong with the shot. I noticed in post that I got this focus breathing, which I really didn't like. So I learned for next time to maybe set up a manual focus over here, and then as I pull into the product comes into focus, and this way I can avoid that ugly focus breathing. Here is when I had to stand on top of the table to catch this top-down shot of the bottles hitting each other. We didn't have a clear goal with this shot, we just experimented to see what we get out of it. The magic came in post-production with the masking effect, but also with the animation of the logo. However, I did cheat a little bit because when the bottles hit each other and they stop, I put a freeze frame so that when they stop rolling, it looks like it was intentional. Sue me. The first pouring shot was, I guess, in a way inspired by Daniel Schiffer from the famous pizza video when he took a piece of hard glass to film the laying of tomato sauce from underneath. That's pretty much what Jakob and I did here. Of course, we made sure the glass is as clean as possible before recording. I think this shot came out okay, but it's a bit far from what I want when I think of a shot like this. I would have loved if the tip of the bottle was a bit more in focus, but also, of course, the beverage itself. I just think it's just not crisp enough. I've watched some videos on how they do this in a professional environment. They cut or break the glass in half, and then they put it on some sort of rig so that it's fixed, and then they pour the beverage through it, and this way you get a bit more control over it. But I think Jakob and I had some fun trying to get this shot right. This one was pretty straightforward. We just made sure we're filming in 100 frames a second, and we put a manual focus exactly where we wanted on the glass. Jakob had a really nice touch here because he insisted in post that we add this extra sound effect of a liquid bubble when our bubble goes up in the glass, and I think that adds that extra 10% to the shot. We really took our time to set up this last shot, and I think it was all worth it. It's by far my favorite shot, and I think it was Jakob's as well. Actually, let me ask him.
Hi Alex.
Hey Jakob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm recording a video about our project with the Brown Cola. I literally had one question. Which one was your favorite shot?
One of the favorite was the ending hero shot.
The last shot, right? Yeah. Thanks, Jakob. Bye. Bye. Here is where Jakob had another cool idea to open the curtains just a little bit to let some sunlight cross the table. I think that offered a more natural, warmer look to the final shot. And as you may have noticed, this was also a team effort shot because as Jakob was pulling in with the dolly shot, I had to put the straw in the glass at the right time. But that's all from me today. I hope you learned something. I hope you got inspired for your next project. If you did, please like this video. Maybe even subscribe. That also helps. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.